What?
Because I'm turning off the internet.
All right, very good.
Except for this thing, obviously. Be right back.
All right.
Except for this thing, obviously. Be right back.
All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Yule. Welcome to This Whole Everything. I want to mute the YouTube channel that I have up. Lewell will be with us in just a second. He's getting Oh, he's back. He's back, everybody.
Yay!
All right. I see Fantinuum's in the room. Yay. How's it going, buddy?
Woo! I got to get locked into whatever the heck.
Do your thing. I'm bringing up my screen so that I can see what we sold at Fantastic Comics.
Oh, I got to mute it.
So, yeah, make sure you mute your audio.
I don't know how to use this thing.
And I'm going...
There we go. I fingered it out.
All right. So, yeah.
What's up, Julian? What's up, Fantinuum?
All right.
Is there some way to make the... I want the screen to go away, and I just want to be able to see chat. Like, is there a widget that I can use that just lets me see chat?
Yeah, I think there is one, but unfortunately, I don't know.
I know that I'm asking the wrong person.
Yeah, you are.
I'm aware.
So I just want to get to what we sold for last week so that when you ask me.
You're talking about the best sellers?
Best sellers of last week.
Nice. Nice. Let me close the door.
You have to look here.
I don't want that humidifier going off the entire time we're here. Man, I don't know if it's the bottom. Okay, it is. It starts at the bottom. Why does it do that? That is retarded.
What?
Top chat.
Excuse me?
How do you make it so that the... Yeah, it's hot tea, man. It's not that... I could have sworn that chat started at the top with the most recent and went with the oldest at the bottom. But that is not what's going on. Triggered! See? But now I know where to look at least. Yeah, I used a bad word. I really am not sorry.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, very good. Since we're starting off that way, I'm sorry about that. I am sorry about that. It does say our store's name right there in the box. So
the store is
I do understand where you're coming from, you know. I have a look at this. I have an image to maintain. Woo!
Do you? Do you? Okay. Well, you know, you're a Dodgers fan, so that says a lot in itself.
That does, and I keep moving up close. Sorry, guys. I'm like, yeah.
Well,
Do you have it so, you do have it so that your screen comes up if you talk?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm not at the shop because we got our shipment before we so we only open on Tuesdays if we're waiting for our shipment, which is half the time. But today we got it before we would have opened and waited for like a few hours to get it in. We're going to change those hours probably around summertime. Probably like a week or so. Is that boring?
I was giving cheers to Fantinuum.
Oh, I see. Well, anyhow, I see. Very good. But yeah, anyway, so I took an early day, came home. My girlfriend's home because she hasn't been working for like a month or two.
Ooh, and she's so lucky. You guys have no idea. She's on what is called a break-in service, and it is required by independent contractors who work for these big corporations, right? Like that's Sony. Right. I got two of them in my tenure while I was working as a contractor for GE. They are fantastic.
Yeah. You like taking time off?
Not at all.
I don't get to take time off. I mean, oh God, that's such a... So there you go. That's one.
You're shackled to a business.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why you don't see me at the store, because it's I got to take some time away, and this is like one of my few opportunities where I'm going to make able to do that. So there you go. Yeah, no sabbatical. I've had my sabbatical already.
Well,
It was a long time.
Either way, I like doing it. I like doing the show at your shop. I like doing the show at your house. I'm good with it either way. So long as you have the show with you, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not much of a show without me, huh? Now is there? But I do agree as far as the shop is concerned.
There would be no show, Yule.
Pardon me?
There wouldn't be a show. You know
that.
Yeah,
there really wouldn't be. I mean, there would be. I think, like, if this wasn't just comic book, I think we could still get on and, talk about some other stuff and be pretty interesting with a little bit of a different format change.
Sure, but whatever.
I mean, we're interesting guys. We talk about cool things, right?
No, hold on now. We're interesting to each other and a very probably select few people like those who are in chat. But I remember one of your old employees being very critical of what we were trying to do back in the day 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, you remember the conversation? I'm not going to repeat it because it doesn't bear repeating.
Are we talking about my brother?
No, one of your employees.
Oh, okay. I don't remember what it was.
I'll tell you later. She was kind of nasty though.
Oh, well, what are you going to do?
Not talk to nasty women?
Nasty people, you mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I do. I'm not sexist. I don't care if you're nasty. I'm not going to talk to you.
Well, maybe if you're a nasty woman, I might talk to you for a few moments.
You mean like a nasty Prince style woman?
Yeah, sure.
Nasty and Janet Jackson style?
Exactly. Sure. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My brother does hate everything. Yeah.
Wait, what?
It says Yule's brother hates everything.
Well, he doesn't seem like a happy guy.
My brother?
No, not very much.
He's been happy before. I know for at least once I've seen him happy.
At least once he's smiled.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings won 2 Stanley Cups, so he was happy at least twice.
Well, if it was within my power, I would provide him with some kind of serum which would make him smile more.
Oh, speaking of Brie Larson, I saw the Avengers movie on Sunday.
Do tell. Spoiler alert for any of you that haven't seen the movie. Yule's going to tell you the ending like he told me right before we got on live.
Yeah, but you're an idiot and you didn't understand what we were talking about. So.
It's so true. It's so true.
I thought it was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. Captain Marvel looked pretty good. She had a couple of costume changes in the movie. That's your spoiler right there.
Wait a minute. Isn't she the one that never smiles too?
She smiled in this movie.
Was it like an acting smile or a real smile?
It looked like it was genuine. At least she acted like it was genuine.
She's getting better.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like, a guffaw moment. And personally, I am not. Oh yeah, I would not spoil any of the movie. I thought she was fine. Yeah, Captain Marvel. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Captain Marvel or Ms. Marvel, actually. Are you? No, you're not.
Sorry, I went to go get my hat so I could.
I didn't realize.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you think, huh?
Well, Carol Danvers in general. I mean, to me, I think we said it in one of the earlier. Whoa! Look at that A's cap. Nice. She. I don't know. Ms. Marvel is what I'm saying. As a character in Marvel Comics, I liked her when she was in the Avengers annual, where she got her powers stolen by Rogue, and then sometimes there would be conversation that she would have in Rogue's head because Rogue was going like all crazy and stuff because she basically took all of Carol Danvers' like memories and powers and stuff like that for a very long time. And so like that aspect of her character is how I got to know her. But as far as like, and then Binary later on, and they shoehorned her into X-Men comics, and that stuff was never really my favorite. They were also very Wolverine heavy and centric. So again, not the biggest fan of Wolverine all the time. So any of this like Ms. Marvel from like Secret Invasion and that kind of stuff, and then Captain Marvel with the recent Kelly Sue DeConnick series that has launched into what we see these days as far as Captain Marvel is concerned. I'm not the biggest fan. Space characters in Marvel aren't actually my big deal anyway. I'm more of a Spider-Man, X-Men fan. X-Men do go into space quite often. But, Silver Surfer's not really, he's cool as a side character. I've never always really been into Fantastic Four. Thor's cool, but I always thought the space adventures were kind of odd. I grew into liking them a bit. Beta Ray Bill is very good, and I like that one a lot, as far as like in the Thor universe. You get into reading the Kirby and then Galactus and all that other stuff is really pretty wild. But even still, I'd rather it be more medieval or Asgardian based. So, yeah, I've never really been that big into like cosmic characters, at least as far as Marvel's concerned. When DC would have like Omega Men or Legion of Superheroes, I really like those a lot. Superhero science fiction, I guess. Or space. Cosmic. Woo. Cosmic Odyssey from DC is very good also. That's Jim Starlin and Mike Mignola.
What does that have to do with the price?
The price? You mean Jim Starlin's The Price?
I do.
That is a Dreadstar story. I think it's how that one character, Sajizzy, or I don't know how to say his name. I think that's how he got his power, or his what he had to do to get his power. And he's like a magician, I guess you can say. Dreadstar is a space superhero story about a captain and his crew. The world or the universe is being controlled by this papal jerk, this really big, crazy looking guy. It's great stuff. I love it. Dreadstar travels with the wizard that I'm talking about, that The Price is based about, and that's good stuff. Jim Starlin's cosmic books at Marvel. Warlock. I cut my teeth on Warlock. I really, really like those a lot. I also like the Micronauts that Marvel put on. Mostly for the Michael Golden early artwork and the Butch Geis artwork later on at the end of the series. Kelly Jones did some Micronauts in the like volume 2. The stories were kind of boring, but good artwork at least. Those are my Marvel cosmic comics that I'm really into.
I was looking at my comics yesterday. I was going through the magazine ones to see what I had done to them, like how thin they were and whatever. I had forgotten that I even owned the Price. But I remember being fascinated with when I was a kid. I would go into Dungeon in San Antonio, and I would see it on the wall behind the counter because it was big. It was magazine size. It had a color cover, but it was black and white. So it was right up my alley, and all of those characteristics. So I bought it sight unseen, and I read it, and I remember being very confused because it seemed like it was in the middle of a story, and there was no chapter 2. There was no episode 2 that I ever saw. Kind of mismanaged, maybe. I don't know.
There was, all right, so I'm probably going to sound a little bit better. I just realized the microphone was nowhere near my face.
It sounded fine.
Oh, well, now it's going to probably sound worse. Yeah. So there's a Marvel graphic novel. The Marvel graphic novel was, again, the magazine style original stories that were longer length than a normal comic book. So they had X-Men, God Loves Man Kills. The Death of Captain Marvel came from that. The New Mutants first appearance came from Marvel graphic novel. I think number 2 was a Dreadstar one, and that ties in with The Price, if I'm not mistaken. And it's kind of like you learn about who Vance Dreadstar is. I think that's what his name is, Vance. And whatever. I might be wrong there. It's been a while since I read it. And I think he meets up with that wizard at the end. And yeah, it kind of ties in.
He's a wizard.
Say, what was that?
He's a wizard.
He's a wizard. Yeah, he meets up with the wizard, and then in the Dreadstar issues that came out through Epic, which was a imprint that Marvel put out, it was like their adult comics. Jim Starlin wrote and drew Dreadstar for quite a long time. It's quite he doesn't do anything now, very rarely. And this was still some pretty good stuff that he was doing. The stories are really good. I like them a lot. Dreadstar, was through Epic, I think is what the imprint was called.
Yes, Epic.
And there were some Bernie Wrightson stories in the back of some of the Dreadstars in the early issues, and those are really good too.
I haven't whipped out the price in a while. I'll probably do that this week just to look, just to see. I was thinking about getting my Fantasy Quarterly graded. What do you think? Is that a bad idea?
Fantasy Quarterly?
Yeah.
Which one's that?
That's the first appearance of ElfQuest. It's like ElfQuest #1 in normal comic book size.
You want to get it graded?
I don't know. Is that a bad idea?
You mean, so when you say you want to get it graded, you're saying you want it slabbed.
Yeah.
You want to slab it.
We talk about this pretty much every week, how we think it's, whatever. Sometimes
so you never want to open it ever again.
I have never opened it except once to look at the signatures.
Oh, there's signatures?
Yeah, Wendy and Richard Penny both signed it. In ballpoint pen. Fucking ding-dongs.
Yeah, whatever. You have to get that. You have to get that authorized that those are the signatures also.
I'm sure she signed lots of shit, dude.
Yeah. I'm sure that's the case.
It's not going to be hard, I don't think.
Yeah.
Is it worth doing? That's the question.
I don't know. Are you going to sell it?
No, but it's I don't know, maybe. I mean, I have a very weird feeling about Twilight. I have a very weird feeling about comics and their value and books in general and selling them, and I'm not big on selling the stuff that I've been collecting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell a collection or any part of my collection. I only want to add to it. And it's not finished yet, so I won't sell it until it's finished for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead and slab it, man. I think they're in Texas, so it's even better.
Where in Texas? Oh, fuck. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, CGC. Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's always going to be better to slab it if it's if you want to sell, or it's always, if you want to sell it, better to have it slabbed, is what I was trying to say. Because the other person on the other end knows what they're getting, not just you saying it's a pretty good, condition book.
Right.
Granted, you're supposed to take good pictures. There really isn't any reason why you can't look at something and, decipher if every picture was given to you what you need, to decide whether or not you wanted to pay a certain amount.
It's more interesting to me just to have it inside that hard, rigid case so that there's no chance of it really getting damaged in the future.
Yeah, and you can display it also, which is kind of neat.
Their little banner, the colored banner, whatever they use, number on it, is hideous. Yeah. It's hideous. It should be on the back. It shouldn't be on the front. All you should see on the front is the comic book. And on the back, there should be a little band across the bottom or something that tells you what it is. They're just big on advertising themselves, so they put it on the front.
Yes, yeah. Well, I don't know what to say about that. Some people like it, some people don't.
Fantinuum, that is not new. It's Charles Burns, though. I've had it for a long time.
And I agree. I mean, slab it if you're going to sell it. Slab it, especially if it's in good enough condition to where it's going to make a difference. The thing about slabbing is that unless it's a rare book and not a lot of people have it, or it's really, really expensive, the grade that you want to have is 9.8. That's the grade, 9.8. You don't even consider it unless it's an older book or it's a really expensive book or both, So I can't afford a 9.8 for a book that's like $2,000. And that might just be something that came out, 5-10 years ago. A 9.8 recent comic book doesn't really hold that much of a value to me unless, something happened or I don't know. You should have no problem getting a nice condition copy of that book unless, it's not like they're floating around there. It's not like there's as many as there were in the 80s. But with the time that's gone by, it's harder to get good condition ones from the 80s.
Yeah.
70s, 60s, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But even still today, a 9.8 is very difficult to attain if you, if you got to have that 9.8. I think sending it in is probably potentially going to damage it to prevent it from being that anyway.
I was thinking about taking it with me when I go back to Texas in November or October.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can travel it and guarantee its safety unless I die in a car accident, in which case I won't really care. Dig?
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't know.
No. I need to make a will. I keep forgetting to do that. I should put that on my list. You have a will, Yule?
I do.
Oh, what am I getting?
It's not for any of this junk. It's just for the store.
Oh, why am I? Who uses a red pen?
A really jerky professor.
They're not allowed to use them anymore in schools.
Oh, I didn't know that was not allowed.
No, California, they're not allowed to use red pen. Makes people feel bad.
So, Shabala, is that how you say it? Shabala said that Dreadstar had come across her path. And that's pretty cool. I highly recommend you read those too, since you have them on your table. And they're really, really good. I like them a lot.
Freaking California.
What was that?
Freaking, I'm reading chat.
Yeah.
Fantinium's embarrassed for our state.
No.
It's your state now. You can have it.
Nah, it's fine. It's
What
fine.
are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, since you're setting something up, I'm going to show everybody what I found this week.
All right, go ahead.
I went to a used bookstore here in Albuquerque, and let's see. It's called Manal Book Exchange. Manal is a road in Albuquerque that runs east-west, and it's not too far from my house. And I go in there because she undercharges for absolutely everything. And she charged me 71 cents for this. It's a third printing, and it's not in the best shape. But nevertheless, 71 cents is what she charged for this book. And I have to say, it's comic related. Oh, my God. Look at that. It's old comic strips.
Have you ever read Pogo?
Is he considered, I don't know how to put it delicately.
PC?
Is he considered a racist?
Mr.
Walt Kelly?
I don't know. I'm sure there's probably some things that people would consider problematic.
Yeah, but a sign of the ages. I mean, that Glenn Cook book that we've been reading has some stuff in it that's a little questionable.
Right. Well, I mean, words change. What are you going to do? It's the sentiment behind what is being put down that I think is really the most important. And not only that, but do you really want to forget what it's like to have been, it depends on what you're reading, obviously. I mean, no one's going to get too crazy. Well, that's not true. People do get crazy about history text and, the boring stuff. It's not always just fiction that gets people riled. Personally, I always wanted to write fiction of some sort. and I never really got too bent out of shape unless it was like something I didn't appreciate. It's not that I don't know. I never really got bent out of shape because of subject matter. It's not something that really upsets me. Sometimes when things are like shoehorned in, like there's this thing that happens in the Avengers movie, and I'm like, and it's just it's just a moment. But it happens all the time, especially in like comic books. It feels like everybody in comic books is trying to write another write something so they get hired to write a movie or make a movie.
Well, that's where the money must be coming from.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to have something that you create represented faithfully on camera, but why also? I mean, I never ever, probably because I'm from LA, I never really wanted to have anything adapted. If you said, "Oh, I wanted to be a writer," oh, really? Like television? Oh, like a movie? No, not like a movie. I wouldn't respond that way usually. Sometimes maybe. I don't want to do that. I don't want something I write to be probably bastardized. You know, maybe the first Hellboy movie was great, and maybe the second one was, but do people like the new one? I mean, I see people crapping all over it. Toxic fans.
I like Ron Perlman.
He's not in this one.
No, I know. I like Ron Perlman.
What are you going to do?
I'm not going to watch the new one because I got a good Hellboy movie with Ron Perlman in it, and I'm happy.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. You know, each time it comes out afterwards, is it like what you originally envisioned? You know, maybe Mignola just envisioned dollar signs. If he did, he made it. You know.
Well, at this point, I would say, yeah, he's envisioning dollar signs. I mean, he's created a brand. He is a brand now.
I want to do a full black page with just a splash of red, and then a dollar sign, and sign Mignola's name to it.
There was an artist back in the day. I couldn't tell you. I can't remember his name. I just remember that it happened. There was a gallery showing for this one particular artist, and all of the paintings on the wall, they were paintings. They were all white, and they had a dollar sign and then a 1 and then a 2, and it was sequential, and it went up quite high. And you could buy the painting off the wall for the amount pictured on the painting. And I mean, it's money. It's all money to some people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you were going to write a story and you were willing to let it be adapted to a film or a TV show, like George Martin, for example,
Sure.
You would be a fool to, I mean, because you would be a fool to kind of go against the flow of water at that point. If somebody's willing to offer you a ton of money for one of your creations, and you're like, no, I have too much, my standards are too high to allow you trashy TV writers to take over. That's fine. Go ahead and have that attitude. But basically, that money will allow you to create more other wonderful things. Doesn't have to be, I mean, so what? Let it go. Let it go. If you really love it, let it go.
It depends on if you're trying to be an artist or not, I think is really what it is.
I don't think that matters.
It does matter. For a time in a person's life, it may matter. It may. You get older and you're like, I have a family. It's time to start making some money or something. But you know, for the time being, I mean, was Stephen King only ever trying to just make a movie off of, or was he trying to get published? Did he want to be, well read, or did he just want to like have a bunch of, he didn't. I mean, I assume he wanted to just write books,
Yeah.
All that other stuff came, and it's nice, but those things, he didn't like adaptations of his novels, so much so that when he had enough power to make it happen, he made sure that whoever ever works on one of his next things is going to be, it's going to be wrote.
Fine, then don't
sell the
rights. Don't be it's just being a hypocrite. I mean, don't make it available. Don't let your agent offer the rights to sell.
Well, I realize that. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But even if you only want to sell out and just make some money later on down the line, it's like, you can't recapture that as much as you want to. You can't take it back that you did that.
Well, what about Buffy?
What about Buffy?
I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but like that came out and it was a piece of junk, and then it came out as a TV show quite a bit better.
Yeah, but let's not pretend we're talking about art. Sorry.
I'm not going to dignify that.
We're talking about the C-dub, right?
That's not the point.
Sure it is.
No, that show is actually very well written. It's quite funny.
Man, I don't know. There's a lot of people that would not agree of anything Joss Whedon does as being worthwhile.
I think nowadays that's entirely true. But
because he's a perv or anything like that. Although I hear he is.
Hey, you know what? If you're a rich, famous person and you're not a perv, I'd be very surprised.
And I'd be disappointed, just to let you know.
Kind of. Yeah, a little bit. Little bit disappointed.
Yeah, well, the Buffy movie might not have been good, but whatever. Paul Rubens in it, right?
Actually never seen it, but I have no intention of seeing it because I like the show enough, and I don't care to even rewatch that. Just because, I've got good memories or whatever, and that's fine. That's enough.
Right. Okay. All right, fine. Even when they all right. Anyway, Buffy. There's a comic book called Buffy.
Yeah, I think Tyler gave me a couple issues, and that's fine. I think Corey's read them. I'm not sure though. I don't know if she's here actually. Doesn't matter. Angel was good too for a while.
Yeah.
They were both good shows. But anyway, we got way off track.
Yeah, we do. Well, like I said, Buffy's a comic.
Well, this is our first half hour of the show anyway, and we tend not to be on track.
Right.
For that. Because, I mean.
Well, since I'm at home, I brought a bunch of comics with me. Some that I read, some that I'm going to read. I did not read the Punisher War of the Realms. I think I saw that in chat. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. We still have a few. I'm not that big a Punisher fan. I did read the X-Men one. If you saw last week's episode, I really enjoyed that one quite a bit.
What are you doing? A summary here? Let's get some comic books on the screen.
The chat. So, anybody that's been watching knows that I really enjoy the Freedom Fighters, even though this is a story about Nazis winning. But in this issue, Uncle Sam, the spirit of 76, has come back from the dead, if you will. See, the deal with him is that he gets his power as people believe in him. So the Freedom Fighters in the last few issues have been getting together and doing some missions, and in doing so, word's been going around that, oh my goodness, something's going on. People are fighting the Ratsies, and then here we have the Fuhrer. This is Adolf too, and he's really, really pissed. And he's being taken to a bunker. And we're also getting the story of the Overman, which is basically a Superman, but he works for the Ratsies.
Shouldn't it be Uberman?
Yeah, you know what?
Umlaut over the U?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, at the end of this issue, the Overman, he comes back. I know I told you that when this was coming out that 12 issues really seems long. And again, I still feel like it's really long. Like this maybe should be like 7 or 8 issues. Robert Venditti's a very good writer, and I like his stuff. He did Exo Man of War. Eddie Barrows is doing some of his best work. I enjoy his stuff. This is a good book. Freedom Fighters.
What number was that?
5.
7 to go.
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be a twist, right?
Yeah, somewhere down the line, but I don't know. Anyhow, we have a burger book. I really, sometimes I don't want bore you with like so many superhero books, and I do read things that aren't superhero books.
Prove it.
Just, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to prove it. Invisible Kingdom. This is a Berger book, which is a imprint from Dark Horse. Karen Berger is the person who basically put Vertigo together. She brought all the Brits over. She also, I think, gave G. Willow Wilson. Nah, it might not have been her. Anyway, G. Willow Wilson did some work for Vertigo on a book called Air. That was like her first comic book work. That kind of reminded me of, there's like some George Clooney movie where he like is a businessman or something and he flies. And I don't know, I didn't pay attention to it. Anyway, Air kind of seemed like it might have been taken kind of sort of from that. Anyway, this whole book is about missing money that is all right. So
you're selling me right now. I'm telling you that.
What was that?
You're really selling me on this book.
It's kind of complicated. So if you like a complicated sci-fi story, I recommend this. It ultimately comes down to money is missing. But we have a religion over here that basically is not down with the structure of corporate world, and then we have a person who a shipper, someone who flies a ship, who has discovered that the money that this company Lux is involved with also goes over here to the religious people. And we have like two characters that are finding this out, and they're going to eventually meet up. It's got really good artwork by Christian Ward, and the coloring is pretty good too. I don't care that much about coloring. We like black and white books, you and me.
We do, but we also like nice color.
But it does have nice color. I'm going to show you a book later on that I think has really, really good color.
Hey, anyway, let me interrupt you for just a second to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You're from California.
Yeehaw.
Do you know who the Moonies are?
Yeah.
Did you know that they are huge in fishing?
No.
Like industrial fishing for sushi distribution.
Okay.
Like fishing is part of their religion.
Okay.
And so they've situated themselves religiously as an organization that fishes and sells fish for sushi.
All right. I didn't know that.
I thought that was pretty interesting and relevant to the comic book that you're describing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I like that. Well, maybe she's doing a whole Reverend Sun Young Moon kind of thing. Yeah, anyway, there you go. Invisible Kingdom. It's pretty good. I like it. I think I'm gonna read the next issue, see where it goes. I think it's just a mini series anyway, so it's not like you have to really invest a lot of time, and it's got really good art. A book I really like, and I can't tell you what I read when I read this issue, was Gideon Falls number, what is this, 12?
How do you mean that exactly?
At the end of the last story, if I remember correctly, because they take a little bit of a break in between story arcs. Our guy Norton and the priest have entered the barn at like different parts and have met each other, and they also, I do believe, saw like the face that is like in the cellar. Anybody that's been reading this knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you
the round Cheshire face.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy stuff. This story takes place in 1886. It actually jumps around in time a little bit. It looks like we're following the Reverend that we've been following as he's coming to the town, and they enter the barn, and there's all sorts of like gruesome stuff going on. I like this art a lot. And, we're looking at color pictures. Oh, there's the face down there. We're looking at color pictures, but geez, this could be like black and white. It almost feels like it is anyway. I like this book. It has a very Twin Peaks feel to it.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I felt like you meant when you said you didn't know what you read.
Yeah, well, he's doing that whole Black Barn thing, which feels like the Black Lodge and the Red Room and whatever all that stuff is. And it is kind of Lynchian. He's made no bones that he's a fan. He's done artwork for like one of the Twin Peaks magazines and has done like podcasts on the subject. Jeff Lemire, I'm talking about. And he's even sprinkled when he did Superboy. I think it was Superboy just before we opened our store. So probably like 2010, he was writing that. And he was dropping in characters or names that were like Twin Peaks stuff. Here's a black and white page or a color page. They just do this so that, you know, you get kind of a texture of the feeling of what it's like to, you know, how trippy and, you know, the scenes change. And I just like the way the atmosphere of this book is. Like I said, I can't really tell you everything that happened. It is strange. It's meant to be, and everything's unfolding, I'm sure, exactly like it's, you know, I'm in for the long roll, the long road all the way through. I think Gideon Falls is an excellent series. Anybody can get in on them. Right now, there's 2 collections, and then there's this book that starts off the new story. That's good. Gideon Falls.
Gideon Falls.
Gideon Falls.
Yeah, you let me know when that's out in trade.
Pardon me? Two of them, yeah.
There's 2 already out?
2 trades, yes.
How many issues have come out?
12.
Okay, I guess that's appropriate.
Yeah. I mean,
miss the days when you could get
5 and 6, I guess. Yeah.
I miss the days when you can get a 12-issue trade.
Well, they want to jump these. So, yeah, well, a 12-issue trade is probably a book that only went 12 issues, though.
And that's fine.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a continuing series, so they have.
No, it's a money grab, dude. There's nothing else to it. It's a money grab.
What, having a continuing series?
No, having 6-issue trades.
Well, they want to. All right, so this is
You release a 6-issue trade when 6 issues are come out, and then when 12 come out, you re-release a 12-issue trade.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with Diablo Hashcraft. Image does have more pages per book usually, and sometimes they're even cheaper, like in the case of Spawn. You know, as an Image creator, you're able to set the price. So if you want to lose money, you're more than welcome to lose money. You can print it on gold and they won't stop you, but you have to pay the price.
Gold, that's hilarious.
Hey, Discovery Bay Comics, welcome to the show.
What's up, buddy?
He totally pimped us out this morning. I was like typing, oh, I forgot to tell you about the link because I was lazy last night and he had already done it. It was awesome. Yeah, so I don't remember what we were talking about, but Punk Mamba.
Sorry, put that up again.
No, that's all right. I was just joking. Yeah, Punk Mamba.
Okay. I regret requesting it to be raised.
You don't like that?
I regret nothing.
That looks like
it just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's Dan Brereton. This is pretty good for Dan Brereton because he uses so much. So he colors his own stuff, and he uses so much orange. It doesn't really click for me usually, but this is pretty calmed down. He's just doing the cover anyway. I want to. Punk Mamba is a Valiant title. She resides in like Louisiana, and they like to do that whole Loa magic kind of stuff going on that I don't really know that much about. Like Cajun magic, you know, like things in the swamp. And she's able to take this spirit, like she can commune with dead spirits, I guess, and gain their powers. And she has this one that she hangs out with, and she gets power from it. Anyway, she gets sent on a mission. Basically, it's all magic based, and she has to go to another country. And it was an okay issue. It wasn't my most favorite. Cullen Bunn is an okay writer.
Sounds like a Neil Gaiman story.
Yeah, this is definitely a character that might run in a Sandman story. Definitely. It's okay. It's not my favorite. She has a cool haircut, if you dig that kind of thing.
Hold on. People are saying she looks like Pink. Hold it up a little closer.
Oh, yeah. Paint.
Maybe he found a picture of her online and decided to draw her.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, anyway. So there you go. There's a Valiant title that I read. I don't give it a glowing review, but I don't hate it. If you're into the Valiant universe, it's pretty cool, but overall it's an okay book.
Did you say that was a Valiant book?
A Valiant book, yes.
That is so out of character for Valiant.
They've had that character before. They did like a Punk Mamba one shot, and I think she may have been in the miniseries called Valiant. And that one was a pretty good one. They had some really good art. I recommend that.
I got nothing against Valiant.
Valiant, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
That's all comic book companies.
Sometimes I don't care. How's that?
There we go.
No Spider-Man, no Superman. No chance.
Yeah, see, that's
a problem.
Right. That's fine, man. If that's how you want to approach comic books, fine. Go ahead.
No, that's usually how I want to approach superhero comic books. Like I said, all right, so I said Dreadstar was kind of like a space superhero, but it's that element that divorces it from like capes and tights, even with his garish costume. He's a pirate.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who are we talking about?
Dreadstar again.
Oh, right.
Back to Dreadstar. I read Mage growing up. He was kind of a superhero, but he wore t-shirt and jeans. The Elementos. The Elementos.
Is that a breakfast cereal?
They're the candy, the fresh maker.
No.
Elementals. I'm sorry. That was a Bill Willingham written and drawn comic book. That was an excellent superhero book. I love that one. But more often, it's not that I read Superman all the time or I read Spider-Man all the time, as you see all that stuff. It's that they are part of a universe that I'm reading that, I mean, why bother with a superhero book if there isn't like a shared universe? And like, that's the problem a lot of times with like, let's say Image, especially in the early days, because they couldn't really build off of each other and got big as a result. I mean, they did. I mean, they would have like Jim Lee would draw an issue of Savage Dragon, and Eric Larson, I think, did like Spawn or something, and so on and so forth. And sometimes they would cross over in the comic books, but yeah, we know there wasn't really a universe. Like Rob could do anything he wants, and if he wanted Supreme to like, I was going to say something bad. If he was going to do something bad, Jim Lee over here might not want to have his Wildcats in a universe where, there's a Lobo ripoff or something like that. So, you got Valiant. They have, they work on wanting to do a big old universe, and you have the Lion Forge. Does anybody even know that Lion Forge is a company? Does anybody even know that Lion Forge is a company that does superhero comic books that have their own little universe? They're going to be doing a crossover soon, and it's like, does anybody even really know? And
I bet there are a couple of kids out there that are super stoked right now.
I have a few comic book customers that read Lion Forge comic books, but they aren't like they're invested. So the thing about Lion Forge comic books is they're kind of like they're diverse superhero characters. And it's like they're specifically targeting specific people to read their comic book, and for the most part, nobody else. And that's fine. I mean, you got to know your target audience, but I would rather have a comic book that, maybe a few other people would read also, because I'm getting to the situation in the store where there's like kind of a numbers crunch, and I can't just have like crap sitting around anymore. So I'm going to have to like really make my choices on what my customers really want, or what I think my customers really want. So hint to anybody listening out there, and get your pull list in. Don't worry, Fantinuum. I know what you want. So, Fantastic Four. Remember how I said I was reading this for a customer?
Yeah.
Whew. Oh, I'm going to be lowering my numbers soon, I think.
Was it garbage?
Oh, I hated this last issue. I did not like it at all. All right, so I'm not a big Brian Michael Bendis fan. We all know that here. But he was trying to rehabilitate the character of Doctor Doom and make him a little bit more of a superhero. They had him become one of the Iron Man that was going around when Tony Stark wasn't around. There was Riri Williams, who is now Ironheart. She was Iron Man at the time, Iron Person at the time. And then we had Doctor Doom, who was the infamous Iron Man or something like that. He is still trying to do a good thing by imprisoning Galactus so that he could power the world. But in doing so, he is, of course, going to destroy the world. And he is so pompous, he can't accept the fact that Reed Richards knows that this is a bad thing. He's trapped the Fantastic Four. And it's just like, I've seen this before. There's some good artwork in it. Someone said they didn't like Assad Ribic artwork. I don't remember if it was here or if it was on Twitter.
Ooh.
Odd. But that's fine.
Who said that?
I don't know. I mean, the cover is kind of boring. Don't get me wrong.
That is not a reason to say you don't like Assad Ribic.
I think this guy is really good.
He's better than really good.
When he did Secret Wars, oh man, that was pretty stuff. Anyway.
Whoever said that they don't like Assad Ribic is just trying to get a rise out of everybody.
So here's Aaron Cooter, and he has a whole bunch of other illustrators that help him out in this book. The Fantastic Four, after a whole issue of being trapped, figured out how to get out of the trap, and they basically win the day.
So it was a one-issue trap?
Say, what was that?
It was a one-issue trap?
Yeah, I mean, anymore, and that's too much. Anyway, this is the end of a story. It's just like, they're all kind of happy at the end, and there's a little joke. There's even a letters page, which I'm really a fan of. But overall, I'm not, like I said, I don't do Marvel Cosmic all the time. This isn't, if they go Cosmic, I'm out all the way. I'm not going to be reading it for a while. Not a fan. It's too bad. Here's another book I wasn't a fan of. Oh boy. Heroes in Crisis. Tom King. I really liked most of his Omega Men. I did not read it all. I liked his vision when it first came out, and I think it won an Eisner, and I think it deservedly so. This is a book about PTSD and how superheroes deal with it at a place called, I can't remember, the Covenant or something like that. It doesn't matter. It's all automated, and at the very first issue, we open with a bunch of, like, everybody dead, except for Booster Gold and Harley Quinn, and they're attacking each other as they run away from the place screaming. This has really good artwork in the series by Clay Mann, but inexplicably, this issue is drawn by Mitch Gerards. Mitch Gerards worked on Tom King and his Mr. Miracle, and although the work is good and solid in this issue, it doesn't really jive with Clay Mann's artwork. And I do realize that we are getting a point of view from Kid Flash. That's Wally West for those of you at home. We get, and this is a spoiler now. I'm letting everybody know. I only have a few left in the store. It's probably out of print now. People are hot for it. Wally West is basically the killer of everybody. And this is very an upsetting issue, and I'll tell you why. Because not everybody was happy with the New 52. A lot of old timers just left. They were like, I'm done. And these are the kind of guys, they don't read Marvel comic books. They only read DC, and they were out. And it took a while for some of them to come back, but most did not. And although there were a lot of new fans that came in, kids that were like, oh, I can get my first new #1 Batman ever. And it had been a long time since that had ever occurred. That is a thing. There were new fans that were born, but there were still people that were kind of like, I didn't really read DC, but now I'm reading DC, but these aren't quite the characters that even I know Batman is supposed to be, Wonder Woman is supposed to be, Superman is supposed to be, on and on and on down the line, including there ain't no Wally West. And for some people, all right, so you got your old timers that were pissed about DC. You have other people, and I definitely knew one when I worked at Comic Relief. There was this guy named Troy, and Troy really liked Wally West. And Wally, if Troy was around right now and he found out that Wally West was done this way, or that he was done that way, and now after Rebirth coming back, and then him murdering all these people because he can't handle his stuff, oh man, Troy would have been pissed. And yeah, so a lot of people are upset. I'm not enjoying this one at all. Tom King is really, he's shitting the bed on this one. And it's boring as all hell. And Clayman should have drawn this issue. Maybe they did this for stylistic reasons, but it just doesn't make sense to me. There's only like one more issue to go. Yeah, I guess I'll read it. I might as well.
Cap it off,
Yeah, why not?
Because it's bad?
It's one more issue, man.
You can always, rely on hearsay. Be like, yep, that's what I thought.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I'm going to end on a book that I thought was fantastic. Fantastic. Are you ready?
Yes.
The Terrifics continues to be very, very good. Fantinuum and I had a conversation on Instagram about how much we like this cover. Although I will tell you, these little Post-its are like a Bendis thing that he does. And there's even like stuff that makes mention to a Bendis comic book. Anyway, this is written by Gene Yang. Pardon me?
Positively or negatively? Mentioning
Bendis really seems to like these. So it kind of like I liked it, and then it made fun of the fact that Bendis does it, and then I kind of didn't like it.
Are you talking about putting Post-it notes on the bottom of a monitor?
Yeah, but it's like these are like, so what he does is he like on on Twitter and stuff, he'll take a picture and it'll have all these Post-its about crap that he's writing, like, what is the zebra all about? And you're like, what the heck is a zebra? And it's that kind of crap.
Okay. So
but
to himself.
I like to hear, but then it reminded me that Bendis does it, and I'm like, I kind of don't like it anymore.
You just don't like Bendis, let's be honest.
I hate him, I tell you.
He can go to hell.
But you know what? I don't hate Gene Yang's Terrifics. Jeff Lemire, the guy who did Gideon Falls, he was writing Terrifics. This is just as good. It's just as wholesome. It's got really good artwork by, who is it? Steven Segovia. And it just gets the team right back into it. There's a little bit of moment. Oh, sorry, that's an advertisement. There's a little bit of moment where like Mr. Terrific and his not really his wife. I'm going to cough in a second. Can you talk for a sec?
Of course I can, but it won't make any sense. I mean, it's just going to be a bunch of hockey. Are you done coughing? Good job.
No, I'm not.
Oh, come on. I don't prepare for these moments. Drink some water. You should have tea next to your desk at all times anyway, or urine, depending.
Urine? Oh, that's horrible.
When I held it up to the light, it looked a little bit like pee-pee, but tea does often look like pee-pee.
Anyhow, you get good character moments with all the characters. You get really good acting.
Over, huh?
Pardon me?
Nothing. I wish we had the opportunity to edit that kind of stuff out.
Well, we could if we really cared.
Too much work.
So you get a little bit of an adventure. I really enjoyed this one a lot. The writing was really crisp. It was exactly how it was beforehand when Lemire was writing, and the art's been really good. Terrifics is still continuing. I hope it can continue on, because it would be nice to have an Age of Heroes that didn't get canceled, because like it's this and Silencer only has a couple more issues. And Gene Yang's a good writer, so he deserves to be on this title.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
He does a lot of first-second books that I sell in the all ages section.
What does that mean?
First Second is a company. They don't just do all ages materials, but a lot of it is, like probably like 90% of it is. They do like science comics, and they do Zeta, the space girl. And
she sounds hot.
She's a little girl, man.
Hey, space girl. I'm interested suddenly.
She's from Earth. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Boring.
Yeah, exactly. But the kids like it. Anyway, it's like it's all ages books that are for kids, but since they aren't like specifically just, man, there is a difference between a kid's book, like like something that is just drivel, and then a book that is for all ages. Like Bone is an excellent book for all ages. You can give it to an adult that just wants something that, like a pogo, maybe minus like some of the colloquialisms, and someone can really enjoy it. Amulet is a very enjoyable book. It's got lavish artwork. The story is really deep and fun, and those are like, that's like a Scholastic book, and they're just like killing it. It's I mean, but then when Marvel goes and does an all ages comic book, they kind of suck. I mean, I was a kid and I read Marvel comic books. Guess what? Those were kids' books, They have comic books for adults, You can get into those later. I mean, I was when someone said hell in a comic book, it was like such a big deal. But then, you go and you get a Pacific comic and someone might be cussing up a storm or something. Or an Epic comic book or something. Not really.
Was their logo PC?
It was PC.
I think I still have some of those comics.
Yeah, I think Gru came from that one, if I remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
And then there was First, and then Comico, and someone might have said shit in there. And I was like, oh my god.
Comico was Grendel, right?
Yeah, Grendel, Matt Wagner. He did Mage. Those are excellent books.
I think I have Grendel #1 sitting in my short box over there.
Well, there's a few different #1s, and not only that, they eventually did like mini series also. So
I'll show it to you someday. You can tell me what it is.
So the first Grendel is one of 3, and it's like it was the prototype, basically,
of alternate covers or whatever.
No, it was a start that shouldn't have occurred, and then he does it again later on, and he betters it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like when you do it was like a pilot. Think of it that way.
Or a false start.
It was a false start, is what it was. Anyway,
you go back to the starting line and
here's your go start right here. No false start here. Go ahead, collect $200 or whatever. Get Terrifics.
You can't even do a Monopoly reference right.
I'm not giving you money for it.
$200.
$200.
Pass and go.
So those are what I read last week. I read one other book from last week. I forgot to tell you. I was telling a customer that I was going to read Ascender #1.
Did you lie?
I did read it.
Okay.
I read it yesterday and I read it today. It's pretty good. I think there's nothing in here that a person couldn't read, that couldn't understand it, because it's got mystery in it. It's unfolding slowly within different characters. So it's a very first issue of any story. And I think, having read Descender at least a little bit, you don't need to read this. You don't need to have read that at all. So all you have to know is that Jeff Lemire, that's that guy who wrote Gideon Falls and used to write Terrifics and writes Black Hammer and all that other stuff. He writes this. And Dustin Nguyen is the illustrator. And he has kind of this like watercolor kind of style.
Yeah.
He's good. He's really good. Anybody that read DC Comics when Paul Dini was writing Detective, he was the artist on that sometimes.
It looks a little digital to me.
I'm sure it is. these days.
That's fine.
That's what you got to live with. Anyway, this person is using magic to try and get information from this guy who's dying. I think he's dead finally here. And she gets her answer with this like robot head after like the body, like I guess vanishes, gets disintegrated. And that's kind of like the one thing that is referencing the Descender, because like the whole robot thing was a thing in Descender, but kind of like how that one started, people don't really deal with them too often or don't want to deal with them. So it kind of feels the same.
I hope that everybody knows what you're talking about.
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. The mystery is unfolding and there's some robots involved and it's got really good artwork. So if you like kind of future magic stuff and whatnot, you should read that book. It was good. But like, you're not going to know until you read the second issue when like 3 more characters are introduced and you don't realize how they're going. It's just like a fantasy novel. You need the convergence to happen and, all the stuff that goes along the way until the convergence occurs. There you go.
Oh, the Fellowship.
Yeah, I mean, everything really goes back to all that stuff, right?
No,
it's just a Hobbit. It's what Ascender #1 is. It's a Hobbit running through the forest. That's what it is.
Yes,
it's a freaking song
from the Nazgul, huh?
But hey, everybody seems to be okay with it. So Ascender, definitely get it. So I read a comic that's coming out tomorrow called Gogor. And this is Gogor. See that? What do you think of that cover?
I think it's interesting, and I would probably flip through it.
Yeah. It looks like this on the inside. It's by a guy named Ken Gehring.
I couldn't have told you that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So you see this thing down here?
I do.
That's Gogor. That's Gogor.
Makes me think of concrete for some reason.
Yeah, sure. Why not? So it starts with this guy right here. I'm going to say guy.
Let me guess. He starts digging without a permit.
Not at all. He's riding this gerbil or something, this giant gerbil. And he's being chased by these dudes right here. And what are these, like ants or something?
You can tell they're bad guys because they're not light colored.
That's right. And that's kind of how it looks like on the inside too. It's just colored that way all the way through is what I mean. And it's really good. I like it a lot. This is a great chase scene. You find out that this character here has a scroll and he's being chased down. You don't know anything other than he's just trying to run away. And there's this leap that they make. And then I'm going to just show you the Ring of Worlds so you get an idea of what was going on there. See that? I do. So that's kind of like the map of the world. This is cool. The scroll has a passage on it on how to awake Gogor, along with some creature and some people that this person meets. Gogor awakens at the end of the issue. I don't want to tell you any more, but it's pretty good. I like it. It was fun. This person, Ken Gehring, did another book, I think called Planetoid, and it came out regularly. So there's not really like a worry that this won't be one of those image books that don't show up on time. So I think you can really invest your time and energy in Gogor. I don't know if it's going to be an ongoing forever, but whatever run this one has, I think it's enjoyable enough to probably want to keep going with. There you go.
Sorry, I was typing.
That's all right. I also read Savage Avengers. This comes out tomorrow. Holy cow. Savage Avengers is Conan in the Avengers universe. Or I shouldn't say in our universe, I should say, the 616. So I guess it was in that Avengers storyline where he was first introduced. No Road Home, I think is what it was called. He didn't get sent back to his time. What he was sent back to, you find out in here, is the Savage Land. And the Savage Land is where there are dinosaurs.
Boring.
Baloney, man. All boys like dinosaurs.
What am I then?
I'm going to be chopping that up.
Hmm?
And it's also where Kazar lives, and I'm a big Kazar fan. I want to see him and Conan hang out. That would be cool. Wolverine's in this book, and there's a reason why all these characters are in the Savage Land. Basically, so this story starts. I'm going to just tell you the first 3 pages. Starts with this like Pavarotti type singer. And he's leaving the show, and he gets kidnapped and taken to the Savage Land. Excuse me, where he's beheaded. and he's beheaded so that a spell can occur. It's not enough. And what they're trying to do is gather the best singer, the best mathematician, the best artist, and the best warriors and all this stuff, and concoct this pool of blood that will raise this demon. Conan's here, Wolverine's here, and you find out the people that they're starting to harvest for the next one is Brother Voodoo is going to get killed for this pot of blood. They have Venom. They have a bunch of other superheroes that are going to ultimately be in this book. So there's a reason for them to be together. There's that whole magic snafu that put Conan in our universe. It was an okay issue. Mike Deodato does the artwork. If you're a Mike Deodato fan, I recommend it. It's got really good action. Conan and Wolverine don't know each other, so they're totally kicking each other's ass. I can't imagine what else you'd want if you picked up that book. So
hold on. Now that is a little bit interesting.
Dude,
I gotta say, if Wolverine's kicking Conan's ass, I mean, wouldn't that be kind of permanent for Conan?
Yeah, well, he's got a shield.
Conan doesn't have any superpowers other than that brain of his.
There you go, right there. Look at that Wolverine with that sword in his head. That's pretty cool. And that was an accident. Conan didn't realize it, but what does he care?
Conan doesn't care.
Conan don't care.
Never cared.
Tomorrow, a 25-cent comic book comes out. It's basically there you go. Watch out, Alterna. DC's putting out a 25-cent comic book, and it's got Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev and Scott Snyder, and I don't know who's doing the art, and other people. It's kicking off their Year of the Villain. I don't know what that really means, other than the fact that I guess a villain is going to be doing something in a superhero comic book. Anyway, it's 25 cents, so I recommend you come in for that.
Is this the kind of... Okay, so is this Alterna, or is this because Free Comic Book Day is coming up?
So, very good you should ask. DC last year did a 25-cent comic book where they had like they had the Batman invitation story with the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the Justice League one that led into that mini series that I did with you. And I can't remember. There was a Superman story or something. And it was cool. It was a 25-cent book. And you're right. It was the weekend, or it was the Wednesday before Free Comic Book Day last year. And they did it again. And I guess they're doing a focus on villains. You know how Justice League has a villain issue every few issues, 4 or 5 issues. And so they're doing a little focus thing here. They're doing one on the Leviathan, which is the Bendis story that's going on in action, which has actually been really good. The Batman Who Laughs, which is got an extra issue on the 6-issue miniseries, so it's now going to be 7 issues. And I don't know what the other one is, but there you go.
So who are they on the cover?
Oh, I see Cheetah. There's the Batman Who Laughs. There's Bane. There's Lex Luthor.
Who's the cat lady?
Cheetah. Meow.
Meow.
She's a Wonder Woman villain.
Meow. Oh,
all right, let's run through these. I haven't read any of these other issues.
I had a crazy girlfriend once that used to meow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's weird.
All right, so there's not a lot of comics that came out this week, but there's a lot of comics that people are going to want to pick up. I don't know why, but there's this one called Dceased.
Okay, let's talk.
All right. It's got really good artwork. Just right off the bat, I want everybody to know that Trevor Hairzine is doing some really, really good artwork. And there's punching Darkseid in the very first part of the story. And I think there's some sort of disease that's going to go on. Please tell me what you know, Lowell.
Okay, so I was looking at Twitter yesterday, and apparently they sent this guy. What's his name? Oh, I have
Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor. DC sent Tom Taylor a box of all of his books with all the different covers and stuff like that, and he was taking pictures of it, like unboxing it on Twitter. And out comes a baby scorpion and a full-grown spider. That's what he said. That's what he took pictures of. And that's what he posted to Twitter.
Huh. I didn't see that at all. That's weird. Wait, really?
That's what he posted. And I don't know, man. My bullshit detector went off real bad.
Scorpions?
Yeah.
You know, that's nature's hitchhiker.
No, I do know that.
Mm-hmm.
But it rings a little. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is a loud motorcycle.
Yeah, I didn't hear it at all. Anyway, this guy's really, really good artwork, and I only read the first 5 pages, but it was pretty cool. I liked it. And Tom Taylor sometimes does a pretty good story. So this is a mini series that I think a lot of people are going to get into. There's 3 different covers, and one of them is always a movie horror cover. There's going to be like a Freddy Krueger one, Nightmare on Elm Street. That one looks really sweet.
Was that one it?
Yeah, I think so.
With the red balloon and the...
That's what I'm thinking right there.
Dave, you want a balloon?
Yeah, it looks good. Anyway. It was interesting. DC doing horror with their superheroes. I don't know if this is actually in the DC universe. It feels kind of elseworldy. So take it with, just understand that. So Black Hammer 1945 number 3 comes out. I chose to bring you the Dennis Cohen cover because I really like his artwork. And at the end of the second issue, we are introduced with our... So the thing is like we're getting a flashback story told by old men. And it's basically the time they meet Black Hammer for the first time. And at the end of the second issue, we meet Black Hammer. And here they are being old. See the guy with the wings. And they're telling their 1945 story in flashback. Just like they're reminiscing is what's really going on. This is drawn by Matt Kent, and it's written with Jeff Lemire, Ray Fox. And these guys are all pals, so for them to finally do something in Jeff Lemire's world is pretty cool. And it's a fun series. It just gives a little bit of color, a little bit of extra background to the Black Hammer universe, which is a big deal because talk about a guy that's like trying to sell out something. Jeff Lemire's got to deal with his Black Hammer, and they've got the future Black Hammer, Quantum Age, which, by the way, is collected this week. If Black Hammer is like a pastiche of a bunch of different superheroes from a crisis event or a secret crisis event, then this is like a legion of superheroes of the Black Hammer universe. There have been other characters and types of stories, but you got a Barbalian type character, and the new Black Hammer. But these are all exploits in the future. And then, yeah. Anyway, it's really good. I like this one a lot. It's again, it's more story. The thing that's really cool about the Quantum Age story is that we're getting, it's kind of George R.R. Martin, going back to him also, where we're getting a little bit of a story, you know, a little bit of information about stuff that we don't really know about our favorite Black Hammer characters, told from these people's point of view in the future. So that's really cool. Anyway, Quantum Age, excellent book. It's coming out tomorrow. What's your favorite book that we get to talk about almost regularly, Lewell?
Is it Transmet?
I mean, as far as comics that are coming out on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. Why, of course, it's Major X.
You son of a bitch.
Although the cover is done by Rob Liefeld, the interiors are going to be done by Whilce Portacio this time. And I'm a big Whilce Portacio fan.
Is that because he can draw?
I've always been a pretty good fan. In fact, the most Punisher that I ever actually read was when Whilce Portacio was doing the artwork. He does a really cool style with negative space, and it looks like on this page here, you can actually see what I mean, the way he does that. I like it. It's good. This is actually some of his better stuff, it looks like. Anyway, finally, someone who can really draw Major X properly, right, everybody?
Yeah, because so many people have tried and failed.
Now, I actually like the guy who filled in for Rob on that other issue. I thought was pretty good too. Anyway, this book is ridiculous. We have a friend, Cody, who is Mutant Menace. You can check him out on YouTube, and he did a video review on Major X, and it does a really good job explaining how I personally feel about it also. It's like you don't hate it, you kind of love it, you kind of don't, you're embarrassed, but you know, anyway. This one, though, Whilce Portacio, he's going to be doing this issue. And then another issue, Rob's going to do the bookend, so the last issue. This is a very the other thing about this book that's really interesting is that on Twitter and Instagram, Rob is telling everybody about if you want to retweet from this guy or a like, all you have to do is say, "Oh yeah, I bought this last issue of Major X before my comic store sold out." Or someone's like, "I drove an hour and a half to get to my comic store, but they made sure to hold the last Major X for me." And Rob retweets that. And Rob's like, "Oh, wow, you know, it's before it even hits. This is already sold out." And that guy is he does his best to make sure this crappy book actually sells for me. God bless you, Rob Liefeld. The next
really hate him.
Just not make it, you know.
He's just not a good drawer.
He's great. Oh, man. All right, so here's a couple books that are coming out you got to know about. You got War of the Realms #3. Oh, man, it's chugging along. This comes out at a bi-weekly rate. This is basically the end of all the years of Thor that Jason Aaron has written. I saw somebody on Twitter say, "This is the best Thor ever." This is very good. And I've liked Jason Aaron's run on Thor, but this is going to have to be a crazy stuck landing for me to suggest that it's better than just the work that Kirby and Lee basically put in. Hell, even the Roy Thomas and Pollard work isn't that bad. But you do have really beautiful artwork by Russell Dodderman with Matt Wilson doing the art on color. I'm looking forward to reading this one quite a bit. And the War of the Realms tie-ins do not stop. We have the Strikeforce team that is fighting the Dark Elf realm. I forget where they are in. Maybe I don't know if they're going to the realm or if they're going to where the Dark Elves are on Earth, but you got to read this to find out. So I just looked inside. We have We have good artwork by Lionel Yu. I'm a big fan of his. We got Blade on the team. We've got Punisher on the team. We got some hot character on the team. Got Ghost Rider on the team. So this is awesome. And Brian Hill is writing it, and Brian Hill is everybody's favorite writer. He does the Titans TV series. He's doing Batman and the Outsiders soon. He had a run on Detective not too long ago. So that's coming out, and I am caught up and a big fan of the Green Lantern series that's going on. So in the third issue, Barry Allen, Hal Jordan shot somebody with his ring. It was kind of cringy because it kind of felt like he was doing kind of like a cop killing an unarmed suspect, like he was being a little social there. And it was like kind of weird that Hal Jordan would just shoot somebody in cold blood. But what he was basically doing was going undercover to become a Black Star. And the only way to do that was for him to show that he was not really in accordance with the law and the Guardians anymore.
He does what he wants.
He was doing what he wants. And so that made him look, presentable to the bad guys.
So are they
a few issues? Say what?
Are they a vigilante group or what?
Yeah, they're like a self-appointed rangers, if you will, that don't think like, killers need to be killed. Basically,
it's a militia.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Usually the Green Lanterns aren't into killing. That's a big thing, and it has played a theme in the past with the Green Lanterns. It's always a big deal if they set their rings to kill, and it's always with the Guardians' permission. Really, really good artwork. Liam Sharp is killing it. He gets on Twitter and just is like, I can't believe I'm getting a chance to draw this stuff. And I would say he's doing a really good job. I mean, it looks really good. It's reminiscent of older illustrators, maybe from 60s or 50s people, but it feels new also. He does a really, really good job, and I like his panel layout. It's always fun and interesting. He does really cool stuff. I have no idea what goes on in this issue, but I don't care. If I didn't own a comic store and I was penniless, I would scrape together $5 to make sure I bought Green Lantern every month. And it's a monthly comic book. It has a time to digest. And if I only had one comic book, I would definitely have to read this one again, because it's just fantastic. Grant Morrison's always an excellent storyteller. Liam Sharp really knows his place in this book. He knows where he is on, as far as a creator, and he just knows that he's a part of something special, and everything that they're doing on this one, I agree, it's very special.
So would you say, is it obvious to you that he's a fan also of Green Lantern?
I think he's a fan of comic books, is really what I think it is. And that's excellent, because so often it feels like someone is doing something so they can get something made, so they can get a different job. Oh, look, I proved I could do this. Now let's get me into something over here. And it's tough, because we don't know what situation a person is in, how much money they're making, what they've got to do. Again, you can't fart around when you can't keep playing guitar all your life. You got to go and get a real job, right, Fantinuum? And sometimes that's what it is. But he's probably making a good amount of money. He's doing something that is, as far as a corporate comic book, as close to art as you can make. And it's his lasting stuff that you're going to be like, whoa, this was a really good series. This is a hardcover book, and it's totally worth it. And I want to show it to people. And if they pull it off, it's no big deal, because they're just going to know that they're seeing the best thing ever. Green Lantern is excellent right now.
Very nice.
Yeah. So there you go. That's some books that are coming out. I got a whole bunch of other ones. You got Uncanny X-Men. Spider-Gwen comes out. Spider-Gwen's a local, or at least formerly local, writer named Shannon McGuire. She does that book, and it's been selling really well in our store. And there's some good artwork also in it. Spider Gwen. So if you need another spider book, that one's for you. Yeah, so there you go. That's some comic books.
There's the comic books.
There's the comic books.
And to answer our local bruja, yeah, that was a lot of comic books. You went through a good number. I think you should do more that are coming out.
Okay.
Like super briefly, like you kind of just did.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the regular.
Okay.
Cover more bases that way. Obviously, you don't have to read all of the stuff and do that, but I think that's a good idea to like give a broader perspective of what's coming out in your store.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
what is this?
What is what?
Show your face, coward.
I was scratching my nose. I was like,
So did we already do the top sellers?
Oh, I didn't say what our top seller was, did I?
Why don't we do that? Because we're running low on time, unfortunately.
Say what?
I said, why don't you do that? Because we're running low on time.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to tell you my top 5 books. This is not counting holds. So, there might be future sales for these books that aren't showing up right now because someone just didn't show up.
Lame.
But Heroes in Crisis number 8 was the number 1 book.
Have you seen a top 5 before?
What do you mean?
You start at number 5.
I can't help it. I screwed up.
You did. Spoiler alert.
All right. There was a tie for number 1, so I won't tell you what the other one was.
Fucking Christ.
All right. So there's a tie for number 5 also. Wonder Woman, Black Panther, and Ascender all sold the same. Then there was Doctor Strange at number 4. Fantastic Four at number 3.
Irony.
Avengers at number 2. Well, actually tied for number 1. So there you go.
You gotta do it right, man. You just messed that whole thing up.
Do it for real. Okay, here we go. Okay. Coming in at number 5, we have a tie. Thanos number 1 and War of the Realms Uncanny X-Men number 1. All right, coming at number 4, we have a tie. Ascender number 1, Black Panther number 11, and Wonder Woman number 69. At number 3, we have Doctor Strange. At number 2, we have number 13. Sorry. At number 2, we have Fantastic Four number 9. And at number 1, we have a tie with Avengers number 18 and Heroes in Crisis number 8.
Thank you. I feel like that edited also. Terrible. It's like we've never done this before.
Well, it happens.
By golly, it sure did.
Yeah, well.
All right. Well, it's 10:30, Yule.
All right.
Let's talk about the future.
Yeah, let's talk about the future. We've
this
got
Saturday.
Day.
This Saturday is comic book day.
Saturday, free comic book day.
So what does that mean?
Come on in and get some free comic books that the companies make available to us to buy at shipping freight only. So basically it's free. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff on sale. We are going to have some things that are not on sale. We're going to have raffles for expensive things in the store and ways to get raffle tickets without buying raffle tickets. And we're going to give away free comics and have a good old time. Does that sound like fun?
It does sound like fun. Can you spoil at all what's coming out?
Yeah, so there's going to be a Spider-Man book that's going to be coming out, written by Donny Cates with art by Ryan Stegman. It's going to be part of the Carnage event that's going to be coming in later.
Okay.
That's the big one. That's like, I think everybody's going to come in for that one for sure. You're going to find out that other stores didn't either get enough or they sold out, and then people are going to be going to other stores to get them. DC has an offering. Unfortunately, I was not involved in doing the stamping this year. When I say stamping, we have stickers that we place on the books. So they were actually going to have a giveaway with some of the raffle tickets for books that won't be stamped so that you can get an unsullied Spider-Man by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, and other things also.
Now, if I am not completely wrong, it's considered like for the value of a collectible that was stamped. To have one that's unstamped is special, but they don't detract from the value because they're stamped, because it's considered expected that they were all stamped.
No, I don't think so. I mean, no one's going to really, I mean, so like I said, I put a sticker on. Before we used to put a real stamp on it, you know. I sold for like $30 an Umbrella Academy, which was the first appearance of the Umbrella Academy. That was like on eBay. And
it was stamped.
Yeah, I mean, the person didn't really want it stamped, but
well,
they
tough shit. You know? I mean, come on, they're all stamped. Everybody stamps them. That's the purpose of having that spot there.
Yeah. No, if you don't get them stamped, it's probably because some store didn't do it, and they wanted to make sure that they sold it at at an expensive rate. Me personally, I've always been, let's mar them all up. I want to make sure that this is advertising for my store. Excuse me. Even if you take a comic that I've given you for free, you throw it in the air and some other person picks it up, it's still free advertisement. I'm going to make sure that my name is on every comic book that goes out or that I give away for free. Now, like I said, some I'm going to have set aside so that we can do a raffle so that you can get those without the stamp. And, I'm going to sell a raffle ticket.
And so what happened? Somebody stamped them all?
Not this year.
You didn't stamp any of them or what?
No, we stamped most of them, almost all, probably like 99% of them.
Okay, so you did keep a couple aside.
Yeah. But not for us to make money. I mean, yes, to make money, but not to just like 10 years from now, put one online and, I mean, I'm not looking to make a lot of money on these comic books. They're free.
Obviously, you wouldn't sell comics if you were looking to make a lot of money, right?
Well, what I'm trying to do, I mean, this is the concept, free comic book day is there so that people that normally will not come in a comic store do come in a comic store. Maybe they buy something that day. Maybe they read what they get and say, wow, I really like that. I want to come in and get it later. In the very least, they might go to their local library and pick it up when it's collected. Somehow that's going to, result in those people reading it in the future, or at least that's the concept behind it. And me as a comic store owner, a proprietor of a comic store, I want people to read comics. I want them to come back. It's not because I want to make money. I just want to, be an apostle. I want to, I just want to let people know that comics are good. They're so good that like people that usually write YA novels are coming over and writing comic books. That will be one of the books that is given away at Free Comic Book Day. It will be a few chapters of a YA Catwoman novel that's coming out this week, actually, on Wednesday.
Worth every penny.
Yeah, it's going to be worth every penny. It's for free. They got a new writer, working on this book, and they want to let people know about it. And I think that's pretty good. Free Comic Day is not always, it's a hassle. I mean, without a doubt. But at the same time, it brings people in the store. It's usually one of our busiest, if not our busiest day of the year. We've had some of our best days ever on Free Comic Book Day. We've had signings where we've done really well too, but you got to do something a little extra to get the squeeze out on those days. And Free Comic Day really does a good job. And hopefully, like I said, I mean, I've had it happen where people actually come back because they want to read the rest of that story, So this Carnage story is supposed to be a big deal. And Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman have been on social media shilling for it for a while, and it still has a while to come out. It's going to probably be pretty exciting because their Venom was doing really well, and they're taking a little break right now because of the War of the Realms. So there's another writer working on it. Oh, that's what it was. Shibala asked about the Venom War of the Realms, and I did not read that either. We sold out. Got to get those early. Anyway, Free Comic Book Day. Come on in on Saturday. We'll be open from 11 to 8. Maybe if we fall down dead, we'll close early. but chances are we'll be open till 8, and we should have free comics giving away all day. We got a ton of them like we always do, and it's usually a really good day.
Good. So everybody that likes comics should go to their local.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, just don't come to Fantastic Comics. Go to your local store. And I actually saw where someone posted that their comic store was not going to be open on Free Comic Book Day. The owner has to do something, and that they're going to do something the following week. And I thought to myself, well, all right, it's one thing that they're not open for Free Comic Book Day, but who's ever not open on a Saturday? I mean, that's just crazy.
People who have to go to jail.
Yeah, well, there is that. Kind of going back to, it's hard to take time off from the comic store. It's a weekly endeavor. Every week there's new comics that are coming out. I have to put new comics out on the rack. I have to sell new comic books. You have, because of bi-weekly and sometimes weekly events, you have less time to consume them. I know how it is for a person that's just reading just the few books that they want, and everything is getting pumped out the way they do. It's really tough. Again, that's another reason why Free Comic Book Day is pretty cool. Don't forget, your comic store does have to spend some money for your comic books, so
so buy at least one book.
Yeah,
buy a graphic novel.
If you pick up the Spider-Man, try and go get a Spider-Man collection. That would really help out. Or you know what, at your comic book store, they're probably running a sale of some type. Back issues, especially older back issues that we buy from the public, we make a lot more money, and you actually probably are going to spend less money compared to comic book prices these days. Also, that's ridiculous. Another way for you to support your comic store. Buy back issues.
You have quite a few back issues, right?
Oh yeah, we've been doing really well on our back issues ever since we got Kyle in the store. We've kind of been revitalized in caring about them. I've been revitalized in getting them. I got to pack all this stuff up away because of all the work we're doing in the house, but I keep getting more comic books, and it's usually the older stuff too.
I'm real glad that you're putting more effort and energy into the back issues, because I don't know, man, that's the stuff that's fun to hunt for. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt. And there is a renewed interest with people on YouTube, people on Instagram, about showing the finds that they're getting cheap or maybe not cheap in their local comic stores, or just comic stores that they're visiting. Right now, the most envious person is this guy on Instagram. For me, I should say, Night Tiger Comics, I think it is. And he's a truck driver, and he gets to go to different comic stores all over the place. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should be a truck driver. You can go to get paperbacks all over the place.
How about I just drive my truck?
Well, I was thinking you might make some money on the way.
I don't want to make any money. I don't want to have to file taxes ever again.
Here you go. Live off the grid.
Just live without taxes. Thank you. You gotta make money to be taxed.
That's
right. Right now, I'm working it out, so I'm not going to pay anything.
All right. He ain't gonna get any education on Lowell's dime. No way.
No way, man. Hey, let's wind it down.
All right.
Let's call it for the evening. If you do me the honors of giving us an outro, as it were. Say goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up for another episode of This Whole Everything. Don't forget to hit your local comics shop tomorrow. It is New Comic Book Day. On Saturday, it's Free Comic Book Day. And again, everybody that has a comic store, those stores should be participating. So make sure you show up, and we will be back again next Tuesday at 8. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah, really eloquently put. Thank you very much. I give Yule crap all the time, but he's genuine and he means it, and I do too. So thank you all, and we'll see you next week. Good night.